learn all about the genitive case this week. So make sure that if you haven't printed out your student notes for week 17, chapter 12, that you get those printed out. You'll be filling them in during this video, and those notes will help you with your homework later in the week. Now, genitive comes from the Latin word genus, which, as you may know from science, we call it genus, means family. And the genitive singular of a noun tells us the declension or family that the noun belongs to. That's why when you look in a glossary, the first word, remember, listed is always nominative singular, and the second word is genitive singular. The genitive is super important, which is why I always tell you, you need to memorize what the genitive ending is, because that will tell you how to decline the noun. Now, the genitive is pretty easy. We use it all the time in English, but you probably don't realize it. In English, you'll see it as an apostrophe S or with the phrase of the. So most of the time when translating Latin to English, we place the words of the in front of the genitive. We'd say of the war, the casualties of war, or the casualties of the war. The can sometimes be used and sometimes not, so use your best English translation. Now, I want you to always use of the or of for now, as it will prevent you from putting an apostrophe S on the wrong word. Remember, the Romans didn't use apostrophe S, they didn't have punctuation. Now, we're going to learn 4 uses of the genitive case. Most of the time, the genitive will be next to the word it's referencing. So if you see 2 nouns in a row and one looks like a genitive, it probably is. All right, first is genitive of possession. It expresses ownership or belonging. Now, if I said milites regis, the soldiers, here's the genitive here, the soldiers of the king, that's the genitive. We could also say the king's soldiers, there's your apostrophe S, but for now, please use of or of that. Right, pretty easy, you're used to this all the time. You've actually already seen it in your homework and in some of your translations. Second kind of genitive is genitive of origin, and it expresses the place from which a person or group originates. He is of Rome. He is of the North Country, right? Where is he from? So basically, where does he belong? He belongs in those places, right? Origin. So if I said Horatius Romi, here again I have the genitive. Even though it looks like nominative, it can also be a genitive ending, right? Horatius Romi, Horatius of Rome. That's how you would translate it. There it wouldn't make sense to say Horatius of the Rome. So use your best, again, your best English translation judgment. We have genitive of material. And genitive of material expresses, as you might think, the material, literally the substance from which something is created. So arma feri, here we have the genitive. Weapons of iron. What were they made from? They were made from iron, so that's called genitive of material. All right, the last one is partitive, but before we talk about that, I'm going to switch colors here for you. Before we talk about that, I want to give you a vocab word that you'll learn in a couple of weeks, but I want to give it to you now because it's used in the partitive genitive. So it's pars, partis, and you can see by the is that it is a third declension noun. It's feminine, and it means part or piece. Okay, so a part of something, a piece of pie, part of the day, that kind of thing. All right. So partitive means a part of a whole. It shows the relationship of part of something to the whole. And the thing that's the whole, like if I said a piece of pie, the whole is written in the genitive and case. And you can even see when I say I want a piece of pie, I want a piece of the whole pie, right? I want a part of the pie. And so because it's got of the in English, you already know that it would be genitive in Latin. So if I said pars cani, there is the genitive. Part, what is the part? What goes into the genitive? The whole, part of dinner. And nihil carorum, nihil means nothing. That's an extra word in your vocab this week that we'll go over in class. So nihil carorum, nothing, what's the whole? Of the carts. Okay, so pretty easy. So let's take a look here I want you to underline, I want you to do this, maybe pause the video so you get your own practice at it. Underline the genitive construction in each of the sentences. And then I want you, so the construction would just be possession, origin, material, or partitive. So underline the genitive and then identify, is it possessive, origin, material, or partitive in each of the sentence, and then translate the genitive phrase, and that's just the words that belong in the genitive case. Now, I know it's really easy just to watch me do this, which is totally okay, but it would be a better idea if you pause the video and practice this, and we'll come back. Okay, inside the temple is a statue of bronze. Pretty easy because it starts with of, right? So we know that's the genitive. And we know that it's genitive of material. It's the thing which the statue is created out of. And if we were going to make that in the genitive singular, it would be nei. There you go. All right. So number 2, the maiden's bravery was amazing. Here we have the apostrophe S. This is the word that's in the genitive. You could also say the bravery of the maiden. And since you can put of the in front of the maiden, you know that's the genitive, the thing that needs to be in the genitive. And what is it? It's possession because she possesses the bravery. So we know it's possession, and we need to do maiden, singular. Goodness, there you go, in the genitive. Number 3, the king will free part of the hostages. And here that key word here is part, right? Part of the whole. So genitive phrase is part of the hostages. That goes in the genitive. And if you look up above on your notes, you'll see that that's partitive. And hostages in the genitive plural is obsidium. Okay, the pride of the Romans was the Colosseum. This one's pretty easy too because we've got an of the Romans. Now, is something, we can go through them. Is the Romans made out of pride? No. Is it part of the Romans? No. Is it origin? No, the Romans are not from the pride, right? So what is it? It's possession, because the possession, the pride belongs to the Romans. And then the genitive for Romans was Romanorum. Remember the difference between, make sure it has an N in there because that makes it different from Rome. And the last one, Gaius Mucium of Rome was later called Scaevola. Remember that? He was called Lefty because he got his right hand burned off. So we have here of Rome. Where was he from? His origin was Rome. So we have genitive of origin, and then we have genitive singular, Romi. No, he's not a Roman. We're talking about Rome. So singular. Okay, let's do a little more practice in Latin. Let's do a couple of sentences here. All right. Statuae templi sunt tuttae. So what are all the possibilities here? We've got nominative plural, we've got genitive singular, and it could also be dative singular. We haven't talked about dative yet, but we have another verb here. Now, another noun. And again, this could be nominative singular, or actually nominative plural, Nominative plural. And it can be genitive singular. So now we have to decide. There's 2 nouns right next to each other. Probably one of them is going to be the genitive. So sunt, let's see if sunt will help us. That sunt is third plural present. And tuttae. I've got sunt, so we know it's an equal sign. So whatever's on one, then the other. Again, this can be genitive singular, nominative plural, or dative singular. However, we see here that it's plural. So the thing that's probably going to make both sense is that we have a nominative plural, right? And it's got to match in gender, case, and number to what's after it, because tuttae is an adjective, and the only word that matches in gender, case, and number is statuae. So it makes, since they have to be whatever's on one or the other, it makes most sense that this is the nominative plural and templi is the genitive singular. Now let's translate that and see if indeed, actually I'm going to put that back so you can see that, if that makes sense. So statuae, the statues, and then templi gets an of the in front of it, of the temple, and sunt are, and tutai protected. That makes sense. All right, last one. Flumen partem opidi circumdedit. All right, so we've got here circumdedit. We've got third perfect singular. So we're looking for a singular nominative, right? Flumen. The only thing flumen can be, flumen fluminous, which is a new word for you. It's third declension is nominative singular. That's the that's what it needs to be. Partem is accusative singular ending. And opidi is, it can be nominative plural, but already we know it can't be nominative plural because this is singular. So it can be dative, but it's not a giving, showing, telling verb. Let's try genitive singular and see if that makes sense. Okay, the river, and we've got that pars partus, so that's another clue. What did the river do? Surrounded. What did it surround? Part. You could also say a part. It's fine. It's the accusative. It's the victim of being surrounded. A part. And then we've got genitive. So we need to put an of the in front. A part of the town. That's it. Process of elimination. Just adding one more thing to your arsenal of what you know in Latin this week.